Here, George, we're talking Palantir. Stock got downgraded today, but it's bounced. It's nearly flat on the session. This has been one of those stocks that, I don't know if it's short interest built up in it, but, their earnings continue to improve. The number of clients and customers that they have continues to improve. But, you stick AI in a name and you expect this stock to maybe be up higher than the 28.60 that it's trading right now.
Yeah, if you look at the stock price performance over the last year, it's up about 65%. It's been a solid performer in the realm of, data analysis, but also predictive analysis. That's really the core of Palantir's technology. Their core roots are in defense, intelligence, homeland security, and scenario analysis and predictive, analysis. So, ideally speaking, what's happening with the business is because their roots are in the government or public sector, they're utilizing their foundry technologies in the private sector. And in fact, if you look at the revenue breakdown for Palantir, it's nearly 50-50. This was generally a company that was selling primarily to the Department of Defense, and now about half of their sales in the private sector. Even going back a year or so, or a year and a half, they actually partnered up with CRM and IBM, not necessarily in integrating their technologies, but to essentially utilize their sales force, which they have a large sales force of. So that actually helped Palantir grow its private sector commercial software applications. But, there are some questions about the move this year. I think there's an element of defense spending and, of course, artificial intelligence, which has pushed the stock higher. But the questions have always sort of been valuation, because as the stock price continues to inch higher, some speculate that perhaps it's not essentially growing its earnings into the price. And if you look at the forward multiple going into this year or the end of this year, it's trading around 87 times this year's earnings, and even next year around 72 times. Now, I think this is why Mizuho's call is more balanced. They actually have it now from a neutral underperform, but they did increase their price target to $22 from $21. And I think that they're being a little conservative based on what I just mentioned, that earnings have been slowly inching higher, but price has been outpacing Palantir. And I think that's really always been the concern for this particular name. Nonetheless, if you look at the short interest, because you did bring that up, Tom, just a moment ago, it's only about 4% of the free float. So it's actually quite low compared to its historical average. So that might be telling that maybe this trend can continue to the upside, considering, again, they're growing. But again, maybe some valuation concerns are putting some short-term pressure on this name.
I think you touched right on it, George, with this stock up 73% in 6 months. They service commercial and government markets. They're in data analytics and cybersecurity. They're right on the cutting edge of everything going on right now with the U.S. economy. But at some point it goes too far and the valuations are just high. It looks like that's really all it is, right?
Yeah, that's what I see. I looked at the last 90 days and they seem to be sort of stuck in the earnings per share estimates, the analysts now consensus-wise, at around 33 cents for this year and 40 cents for next year. So I think this one will want to be, quarter to quarter. Obviously, every stock is quarter to quarter to some degree, but obviously the trend is continuing to the upside. And I think maybe right now we've got a hotbed of, homeland security issues, even domestically ones, considering what happened on Saturday as well. That might be a supportive catalyst for Palantir, considering their software is all about predictive analysis. But I do think the valuation is the anchor here for Palantir, unfortunately, because even though the price is moving higher, the earnings estimates are not encroaching or are not keeping up. And so that's causing that multiple to expand, and that's creating some apprehension, let's put it that way, by some of the analysts and maybe some of the traders who are taking advantage of some of the gains in this name to sell for profits, because of the fact that even though their earnings are expected to grow about 34%, if you're trading around 87 and 90 times earnings, that's still a little bit rich.
Yeah, and if you look at their commercial customer count, it's only at 262. So they started out as that defense contractor. I'm surprised that they haven't expanded that footprint because of the cybersecurity aspect of it. And Alex Karp, the CEO, he's pretty much out there all the time saying how good their platform is as far as AI goes. All right, great stuff as always. Thanks to George Tillis.